NRL round 14, New Zealand Warriors clinical, getting it done over the Cowboys. Let's take a look at this one played out. Hey team, welcome back into the Warriorholic. Sat there and watched that game last night off about 3 hours sleep, but what a performance. What a performance. Got to say, I did call it last week in my chat with Jared Cronin, doing a bit of a mid-season review. I had a feeling after what we'd seen over the past couple of weeks, the young fellas stepping it up, seeing the boys deliver in times of adversity. A few wake-up calls from Webby. I just had a feeling the boys were going to come back refreshed. These senior players were going to step up and would do the damage. And I got to say, that was probably the most clinical performance I've seen all season. To be fair, the South game was great, but they were even worse than the Cowboys. The Cowboys had a great side, a bunch of guys coming back, should have been hyped and fired up off an Origin win, but the New Zealand Warriors, just too relentless, too clinical, too fast, too good at everything. Absolutely stoked. That's what we've been waiting for all season. First impressions, a lot of people have been bagging the game plan all season, saying it's too predictable. Webby's always said it might be predictable, but when you nail it, people just can't defend it. We certainly proved that right with 7 tries in the game last night. So let's get straight into it, guys. Let's take a look at how the team stats played out. 42-12 to us, 56% possession, 84% completion rate for us, 77 for the Cowboys. They never looked like they were in it. We started fast. We held the lead. We put the foot down and finished strong. Never any question. Never any question. And it's reflected in the attacking stats here. 195 runs for us versus 149 for them, and 1,863 run meters for us. 560 odd more than them at 1,306 meters. Post contact meters 750 for us and just 492 for them. 7 line breaks versus 2. Damn, it surprises me. They've got some really clinical players in their backs really quick. We saw that try that Drinkwater got. They just needed to free him up a couple more times. Our boys didn't look like we could match him for speed, but we just put too much pressure on. I think this is a good one too. 32 tackle breaks for us versus 21. We'll see the defense in a minute, but man, we stepped up in that area of the game as well. Average distance per set, 42 meters versus 36. Big difference. Kick return meters, 275 meters from Chans at the back there versus just 106, which just goes to show, as has been the case a lot this season, we're kicking from much better position. We might not have contested them all, but we popped the guy in their butt as soon as they got the ball. So well done to the boys for winning the middle and getting us in a good position to kick every time. Average play of the ball, they actually got a faster play of the ball. 3.56 for us, 3.54 for them. Nothing in it really, but still not the fastest play of the ball we've had all season. 5 offloads for us. I like that we're getting controlled offloads back into our game, second phase play, and restricting them to only 1 offload. Right, kicks, Tamati Martin and CHT sharing the workload here. 701 kicking meters. That's as good as we get when SJ's playing. In fact, we haven't been into the 700s too many times this year. Kick defuse, 80%. I'd still like to see that number get a little bit higher. We do tend to put down the odd bomb, which could cost us against a better team, but just 3 grubbers. I'm surprised. I thought we would have put more than that in, but I do like that variety on the final play. Tamati Martin, very depth at putting those well-controlled grubbers in. A couple of them paid off. This is what I love. Almost 93% tackle efficiency from us. The Cowboys, 90%. 90% tackle efficiency, and they got 42 points put on them. That just shows you how classy our attack was. Making 385 tackles, the Cowboys, versus us just having to make 304. Only 21 missed tackles for us. We've missed more than that and a half at times this year. 32 missed tackles for them. Again, that's not a huge amount to get that many points put on you. Ineffective tackles for us, just 2. I'm not sure if that's right. Surely we had more than that. We've seen 15, 20 ineffective tackles in a game at times this year, so that's a really great stat up against a solid fullback and some explosive backs. Negative plays, 10 errors from us, but I guess when you're up and you're starting to throw the ball around a bit, it does happen. Would like to see that in single figures, but only 3 penalties conceded, 1 ruck infringement and 1 inside the 10. A lot of people have bagged the ref, saying he was biased. I don't buy into that for him for a second. I thought he let the game flow pretty well. He sort of showed he's out of his depth a little bit there with the sin bins, but maybe it's just his way of getting those like grubby plays out of the game, and the few push and shoves getting into it. But I thought he went okay. Just like the fact he let the game run. Nothing worse than some of these guys who want to be on TV by overblowing it. So overall, as a team, I think we played as a team, we won as a team, we defended as a team. Really interesting to see in the post-match conference when Webby was asked about SJ coming back in. I can't remember exactly how he said it, but he basically indicated that SJ's really got to learn not to over-dominate a game and not play his hand, or not overplay his hand. In other words, making sure he lets Tamati Martin get a fair share of the ball, because it's working at the moment. And just, a lot of people are sort of saying don't bring him back, but don't forget that guy should have been Dally M last year. If we can get SJ back to playing that level, but able to unlock Tamati Martin to the same level he is now, that gives you 2 genuine threats on both sides of the field that really is going to put the opposition in 2 minds. I did really like how Tamati opened up our right-hand side this week. Really great to see all those tries going down the right, but also managing to score down the left as well with Mitch Barnett. It's being able to have that balance, play both sides, attacking threats both sides, that's really going to make it a challenge for a lot of teams to defend us in the coming weeks, with some big games, the Storms and the Broncos coming up. Got to beat both of them. Fullback, Chance, 80 minutes, 22 runs, 251 metres. It just seems normal, but it's not. 251 metres. God, this guy's a machine. 54 post-contact metres, 2 tries, 2 line breaks, 3 tackle breaks, 1 offload, 2 tackles, 1 miss and 2 errors. Olivia outside backs had a couple of errors in them this week, but shit. Still, you can't question that he should be at the back. A lot of people still trying to say move him to the centres, put RTS at the fullback or whatever. He's not going anywhere as long as he's not injured. Webby loves him. I love him. I think he's just an absolute machine. He's the heart of our team. So, full props to him. Again, I'm not going to put in scores this week because I think they're all 9.5 out of 10, if I'm honest. I can't take points away from these boys, so I won't bother putting them in. Dallin Watene is a Lesniak. 80 minutes, 14 runs, 142 metres, 53 post-contact metres, 1 try. Could have been 2 if we got our runners right there. 1 line break, 1 try assist, 3 tackle breaks, 2 tackles, 2 missed tackles and 2 errors. So, the missed tackles still continue to occur, but we're defending them pretty well, covering our asses. No, not too much jamming last night. Got that intercept in the very last play of the game, which was good. But a couple of errors. But overall, can't fault him. I really like how we seem to be spreading the numbers more balanced at the moment. Granted, Chance with 250, but 14 runs from Della, not having to do 20 runs, and we really shared the workload, which I think is great for the longevity of the team. We're not sort of tiring guys to fatigue in certain positions, particularly guys who don't normally go off. Rocco Berry had another huge game. 80 minutes, 8 runs, 85 metres, some of them pretty hearty as well. 40 post-contact, which is good, up to close to 50% post-contact, which is something he struggled a bit in the past. 2 tries. Man, that one bouncing off his chest to manage to get that back in. Utter class. 1 line break, 4 tackle breaks, 11 tackles, 1 missed and 1 error. Very, very solid. Again, people talking he's not quite up for it. Drop him. Continues to develop. He's going to be world class in a couple of years. Man, choices for Webby when RTS is back fit. I don't think you can drop either him or bloody Pompey at the moment. And then how do you drop someone like Montoya as well with the way he's playing? Pompey seemed to be a little bit quieter because obviously he didn't get the tries and the try assist, but he was very solid. 80 minutes, 7 runs for 60 metres, 32 post-contact. Again, 50% post-contact metres. 7 from 8 conversions, 1 tackle break, 17 tackles and 2 missed, 2 errors. That's great to see because normally it's Rocco doing all the defense, getting up around 25 odd tackles, but we kick both sides of the field, which I really like. Our kicking game equally strong on both sides. Having that left-footed kick from Chanel Harris-Davita adds some serious variety, so teams are not just sitting back on their laurels and expecting their left wing or centre to have to catch the ball every 5 minutes. So great to have that variety, and I thought, again, 17 tackles, just 2 misses. He's very, very solid. Can't see him dropping out. People, I think he'll be there through to the end of the season now. Left wing Marcelo Montoya continues to deliver at a really high level after being dropped. Again, I said, I don't know, was he dropped, or was it just we had to make way to move RTS to the wing before he got injured? Time will tell in a couple of weeks. RTS due back the week after next. Massive call. I've sort of said it before jokingly, but I'm half serious now with the way these boys are playing. I'd like RTS to go into Cup, run for 250 metres, score a couple of tries, make, 15, 20 tackles with, at 95% or something like that to really make a statement and force his way back in here. It's bloody tough to drop these senior players to bring a guy back in on reputation. Granted, he's delivered a lot of metres and a lot of tackle breaks, but he hasn't really, sort of sparked to the point that I think he can displace either Montoya or Pompey just on reputation at the moment. So I'm glad I'm not making that decision, Webby. I know you'll make the right one. But Montoya, yep, really happy with his performance. What did we get there? 11 runs, 126 metres, 35 post-contact, 3 tackle breaks, 3 tackles, no misses. He hasn't been missing lately, and 1 error. Not quite getting the massive runs or run meters he was earlier on in the season. He was getting up around the 170 mark, and that 126 includes the break he made where he got the shoulder charge, if it was or wasn't, but lost the ball there thanks to a good tackle from Valentine and Holmes. But that would have been a good 40-metre run. So not quite getting as many run meters as he normally would, but still can't question his work ethic at all. Then 5'8", Chanel Harris-Davita. Webby indicated that all 3 of these guys will be playing when SJ comes back, that effectively Chanel will go to the 14 role. That's fair to say. Tamati back to 5'8", but in the meantime, he's played bloody well. 70 minutes thanks to that sin bin for dropping a ball on a guy's head. Not even throwing it into the head, but literally just dropping a ball. But Chad Townsend, I wonder if he actually intended to send him off, or after he sort of calmed down from dropping Chanel and realised, shit, I better even this out. Not just give the Warriors the guy in the bin, but I suppose it did calm things down. 5 runs, 36 metres. One of them, he just really showed his agility and almost stepped through for a try. 17 post-contact. And this is what I really like to see him kicking 9 times, 243 metres, so effectively around a third of our kicking metres. That variety, I love his left foot kick. 16 tackles, 1 miss and 2 errors. I thought he was really solid. He didn't have a really dominant game where you just see him creating left, right and centre. He just did his job, allowed Tamati Martin to run the show, stepped up when needed, so I thought he was really solid. Looking forward to seeing him at 14, giving you that ability to cover pretty much anywhere in the back line, lock and hooker. So unfortunate for Freddie Lussick, but he will probably drop out next week if SJ comes back in, if not the week after. But well done. Pretty happy with CHT. Tamati Martin, he was my man of the match. God, it was tough. Between him, AFB, Mitch Barnett, Jackson Ford, Chance. But I just think, given the context, 80 minutes, 10 runs, 77 metres, 14 post-contact, 16 kicks for 436. None of those kicks off the side of the boot. They're all much better this week. 1 line break, 3 line break assists, 4 try assists, 1 tackle break, 14 tackles, 2 misses and no errors. I said it when he first came back in after the Rabbitohs game that I thought he had the better overall game versus Metcalf. I started to question myself a few times there when SJ was still back, but in the past few weeks, particularly at halfback, he's shown himself to be a genuine class 7. We shat ourselves every time SJ seemed to have a niggle. We were worried if he went out we'd be screwed because, to be fair, Tamati struggled a little bit at halfback last year, but I think that time playing halfback in Cup really sort of helped him get the confidence, improved his kicking game to the point, how do you bring Metcalf straight back in ahead of him with the way he's been playing? once he does eventually get back. So you may see Metcalf playing some time in Cup to find his feet and hopefully find some fitness. But to have these genuine NRL level halves is a real blessing for them, capable of probably delivering in a final if they had to. So very, very happy for Tamati Martin. Shit, if we didn't keep on, I'm pretty sure there are plenty of clubs who try to grab him, but I think we're going to extend this boy out now. He's really shown that he could be SJ's successor. Props. Adam Funnell Blake, as I said, came close to man of the match for me. 55 minutes, 20 runs, 270 metres. Metres per minute, I think that's his best performance of the year. We've seen him run over 200 maybe once, I think, or get close to it, but playing bigger minutes. 101 post-contact metres. One try, one line break assist, 6 tackle breaks, 1 offload, 22 tackles, 0 missed. That's a statement from the big fella. No missed tackles is attitude. So he's clearly turned that around, and that's going to be a great thing for us heading into the back half of the season, and 0 errors. Could have asked for more. Hooker Wade Egan, 56 minutes. Great to see that he didn't go off through injury this week. It was a actual substitution. So that's 5 times or 6 times more minutes than we've seen out of our starting hookers recently. 7 runs for 71 metres, 26 post-contact. Ran at the right time, but still just didn't quite link up. A couple of those breaks he got had guys close to him that could lead to something special, but it's really nice that he's keeping them honest. 36 tackles and just 3 misses, no errors. Class. To the point, like, I didn't notice too much of him on attack this week. Other than the fact I had him in a multi to score a random try. I had him, AFB, and Kyle Felton, the Warriors, to win, was going to be playing like 350 odd bucks for $6. I thought he might have got a try. Their forward's been a little bit tired coming back off of Origin, but overall he's just had that really industrious game where he did his job. He didn't do all the flashy stuff, just literally. I kind of like that when a hooker is going so well, it's the guys outside of him who are shining. Yeah, stoke the bros back. Hope the head's all good and hope he doesn't get injured again this year. I'd love to see him get a solid run in now. And our other new prop, this young fella, Jackson Ford. How good. What a revelation from Webby. Again, saying in the post-match interview, he tried a few minutes there with Jackson over the past couple of weeks, asked him how he went, and he said he loved it. Playing 62 minutes on the trot at prop is something huge. 19 runs, 178 metres, 70 post-contact, 33 tackles, 3 missed, no errors, giving away a couple of penalties through his line running, which wasn't just him anyway, and I think it was one holding down in the tackle, which I thought was marginal. I think this is a really interesting move, and I've got to say I like it. If he can hold his own in the middle, play those big minutes through there, it allows us to play Manata and Mitch Barnett on those edges. They're huge. Their aggressive running, their aggressive defense, I think it significantly strengthens our team. So I'd imagine Jackson stays here going forward. Webby said it's the fact that when he gets other people start to get tired, he just gets stronger. Multiple runs per set. I was wondering for a while there if Webby would just leave him out there all game, but I don't think that's too wise going forward. So one other thing I wanted to quickly touch on here is the fact that none of our forwards played 80 minutes this week. We used our rotation much more effectively, and I think that's a reflection of having the depth and experience on the bench. We've got to keep that up. We've got to have more realistic minutes for guys like Tolhu, AFB's another one, Egan, all getting overplayed earlier on in the season. Jackson even playing those 80 minutes week in, week out. The fatigue will tend to build, but this kind of rotation means that guys are going to be a lot more fresh week in, week out. So watch for Jackson to spend the rest of the season there. Marata Niakordev, just 47 minutes. I felt like he was out there for more, but 9 runs, 75 metres, 46 post contacts, so well over half of his metres post contact. 2 tackle breaks, 22 tackles, 2 missed tackles, and no errors. Shit, he was a beast. Man, he runs it hard. Man, he hits hard. So good to have him back. I was expecting to play that bench middle role. I think a lot of people were, but being able to play him, as I said, on the edge adds a huge strength to our team. Means we've got powerful runners across the whole field. Very, very happy to have him back out there. Similar with Mitch Barnett, 58 minutes, 15 runs for 147 metres, 68 post-contact. Shit, he runs hard as well. His effort here is 1 try, 1 line break, 1 tackle break, 1 offload, 28 tackles, 0 missed, and 0 errors. Shit, surely he's going to get a run in State of Origin this time, or next time up. It'll be an absolute sort of shame to lose him from us, but he deserves it. What an absolute beast. Couldn't have asked for more. Man, I hope he stays for another couple of years. I really do. I think him and James Fisher-Harris, near Korea, combined with some of these young guys over the next 3 or 4 years, could build an absolute powerhouse pack for us. So love his leadership as well. I couldn't ask anything more from him. As I said, close to man of the match again. Dylan Walker, 46 minutes, 14 runs, 105 metres, 41 post contact, 4 tackle breaks, 1 offload, 17 tackles, 1 missed, 0 errors. Ball playing on the money, crisp for the most part, other than one that bounced up, hit the ground, bounced up, and then ended up turning into a try. But I love the energy. I like the speed he plays at. I think it's a really interesting option to have him starting. I didn't expect so much for Tohu off the bench, and I think this may be a way that we keep going forward. It was great to see him moving freely. I didn't see him get the ankle injured or caught up in anything all game, so I hope that's a sign that that's getting better now. Bro, we've got to keep you out there. So I think this starting pack for me from yesterday is our best pack going forward. So I expect to see Dylan playing some big minutes. Jazz off the bench, 28 minutes, 9 runs, 73 metres, 29 post contact, 1 offload, 23 tackles, 1 miss, 0 errors, no penalties conceded. Probably wasn't the game he stood out the most in. He's had some bigger games this year, but absolutely did his job. Always gets that, the forward momentum when we're sort of a little bit flat. His tackling, the amount of times he dropped Jason Taumalolo with perfect legs tackles. I saw an article earlier on this week. I didn't read it in detail, but sort of insinuating that he'd been offered a contract, but a really low one. So he's trying to sort of step up over the next few weeks and try and justify a bit of an upgrade there. I doubt very much he gets back onto the money he's on at the moment because he's on a pretty good whack for a senior player playing off the bench. But some people say let him go. I'm saying keep him. If we can get Jazz to stay at the club for another couple of years, mentor some of these young fellas, he might sort of be drifting in and out of NRL towards the end of the contract if they extended him for a couple of years. But to have a guy like him who doesn't kick stones, goes down to cup, absolutely dominates, but you've got that quality injection to bring in when you need that experience. So I'm really hoping they extend him. I'm really happy with what he's been doing and stoked for him that he's been able to stay injury-free. Kurt Capewell off the bench I thought was interesting. 55 minutes, 9 runs, 57 metres, 28 post-contact, 1 tackle break, 23 tackles, 1 missed, no errors. I'm not convinced he's the best option off the bench, if you know what I mean. I think he plays better when he starts, but I've got to have Barnett and Niakore out there starting at the moment, so he will probably continue to be used off the bench. I felt like he sort of struggled to sort of sink a little bit in attack. Started to get a little bit gassed there at times, but the effort areas on defense, 2 or 3 tackles in a row, to sort of one-on-one tackles as well, getting up off the ground, back to back to back. So you can see that that's what Webby really likes about his game. The attacking fluidity will come. Great to see he's looking injury-free. So, you kind of ask yourself, the young energy, the speed of a guy like Jacob Laban or a guy like Zion, Sifakula coming back into the mix versus a guy who's played State of Origin and won grand finals. It does make sense to have him out there. Tohu was a revelation off the bench for me. I didn't expect him to have such a big impact. Coming off the bench and running with that speed and aggression is something I felt like he's been missing. Things have been a little bit slow, but having had that break refreshed, just playing him 49 minutes, I feel like it just allows him to play with a little bit more speed. 14 runs, 143 metres, 54 hard-fought post-contact metres, and the speed into the tackle was something we haven't seen for him. It's something we haven't seen from him for a while. He's generally a bit more of a, sounds rude to say plodder, but he doesn't really hit the line with speed. Hence his post-contact is really up that high. So 1 tackle break, 26 tackles, 0 miss, 0 errors. Great to have those 2 world-class options in him and Dylan Walker. How does Webby go? I mean, I think they both go just as well as each other, but I think it worked this week, so we stick with this until it doesn't, and keep playing him around these sort of minutes. Don't overplay him and allow him to have that energy. Well done, big brother. Finally, Freddie Lussick with 24 minutes, 2 runs, 22 metres, 9 post contact, 2 tackle breaks, just 9 tackles. Seems odd for 24 minutes. 1 missed errors. Held his own, did his job. Obviously, he's not Egan, but I think there are a lot of teams out there who'd be happy to have him as one of their backups. Obviously, Paul Roach is still yet to be confirmed when he'll come back. So, in a game where you have genuine concerns over Egan, they may look to use him in the future. But I'd say as soon as SJ comes back in, like I said, CHT into 14, and Lussick will probably drop out. But it'll be great to get him to play some big minutes in Cup, just really start to work on his skills and a slightly lower level of footy so that when he does come back in, he's really ready to charge. So all in all, I can't criticise anything. We did it. We played close to the perfect game. Start hard, put the foot down, keep the foot on the throttle, never let the other guys back into it. Defended like demons, played like a team. What more could we want? I would say, obviously the Cowboys contributed to that with their errors and, sort of a lethargic display. But like I said, they've got plenty of talent out there. They've had some really big comebacks this year, which is why even though a lot of people complaining about the biased commentary, you couldn't, the commentators couldn't write the Cowboys off. There's every chance they could have launched one of those comebacks like we've seen, but Warriors didn't give them a chance. So what do I expect now? I really need to see the same kind of performance. You won't see the same scoreline, but I want to see the same kind of 80-minute performance this week against the Storm. I'm going to be up there, guys. Oh, man. I've got to see us beat the Storm. Never been to a Storm game. Got the brother Jake coming over from Melbourne. Massive Warriors fan. I have a lot to do with on Instagram. We exchange many a DM with all kinds of theories. He's a really hearty thinker of the game. So looking forward to going and watching the game with him. So I need the boys to step up. I need to see that same kind of performance. I don't want to see what we saw against the Sharks and the like where we drop off. But for me, it's this game against the Storm and then against the Broncos in a couple of weeks. We've got to prove that we can dominate them. They're both slightly down on troops. They'll have no Pappenhausen and probably no Munster this week. That gives us a massive chance. We've still got to deal with the likes of Hughes and Harry Grant. But there's no reason we can't do this to them. And then the Broncos, we've just got to put one over them. And then I feel like we've proved that we're genuine contenders. We may struggle to get into the 4, but I think at least if we make the 6 with that bye in the final round, it's kind of like making the top 4. That's what we've got to be aiming for, just not scraping into the 8. We need about 5 or 6 games on the trot now and beat some big teams. And then anything's possible. So it's weird, the most clinical game we've seen, but I expected it. So I'm probably not as hyped as I was after beating teams like the Panthers when we didn't expect to win, or that, the effort against the Dolphins down on numbers. I didn't go nuts last night. I'm still not feeling massively hyped. I'm just feeling extremely content. The boys did what I expected. They backed up my big call. Now they've got to back it up week in, week out. Let me know what you think, guys. Who was your man of the match? What do you think happens when guys like SJ and RTS come back in? Please do hit the subscribe button if you are new to the channel. It's great to have everyone here. I always love all the interaction. Always got to bump those numbers up and keep the algorithm ticking over. Thanks again, everyone. See you next week. Up the mighty New Zealand Warriors. 42-12. Thanks for coming.